Hello and what is up YouTube, welcome to the RiftGuides WildRift video. There has been a small break, but we are back and we are back with patch 6.2b. The WildRift patch has dropped, we have skipped the 6.2, 6.2a1, but we can gladly talk about this if you want to. Just leave me a comment in the comment section below, and if there's enough people wanting to talk about this, I'll make another separate video talking about the 6.2 update in general, as well as the A update. But now let's take a look at all the balance changes. So first off, we have the new game modes. I will just briefly go over them. Forum is back and better than ever. To learn about the forum updates this patch, read our recent Rift report here. You can just click this one on the main page and then you'll be there. It will be available from the 31st of July until October 22nd. Arena will also be coming back and it will start on the 1st of August, so I think it's tomorrow because I made this video on the 31st as well, until the 22nd of October. Our Earth is also coming back, also starts on the 1st of August. Champion changes. This patch we are packing a punch and a few pricks, Seth has been hitting the gym and has been beefed up and ready to throw it down even harder, especially during the laning phase. Talon is sharpening his blade to slice through his foes with even more ease, and you'll also notice that Zarya's damage is a little less thorny in lane, but we are keeping her rooted in strength. And last but not least, Cinched is being slowed down. He'll need more than just a trail of poison to breeze through the early game. Very weird to say this one, because Cinched early game is pretty bad. If you actually choose to hit him, then he automatically loses. But yeah, people just don't want to actually play the game. Okay, Gallio. Since the nerf to Shield of Durand, AP Gallio, or AP builds on Gallio have dominated. We are aiming to bring AP tank build back into the spotlight. Gallio's max health now contributes more Shield of Durand damage reduction, and its effectiveness has been improved at close range. Additionally, Gallio can now trigger his passive more to maximize its impact. We believe that these changes will give Gallio a greater build flexibility and help him return to his role as a true mage slaying sentinel. The problem is, like any changes to the Gallio, making a more tank oriented champion is just weird, because Gallio's traits, like signature trait thing, was to just one-shot people. If you take away his damage, then like what's the point? Like, he can never reach mages unless he flashes on top of them, and if he doesn't one-shot them, then nothing happens. So what are they changing? Colossal Smash passive. What do we see here? Colossal Smash passive sees a change in the cooldown. Instead of 5 for 3 second cooldown, we're going up to 5 in total. So that's already a nerf number 1. He gains 40% attack speed when the passive is up. When an ability hits an enemy champion or epic jungle monster, it reduces Colossal Smash cooldown by 3 seconds. Each ability can only trigger this cooldown once. So we got down to 2 seconds, by the way. But I assume this will be capped to like one champion. If you hit multiple people, you would get an instant refresh, which sounds kinda weird. As for the scaling, we have 15 plus 1% AD, plus 12.5 times the champion level, minus 1. Like, there's a lot of numbers, yeah? So where do we see a reduction? I'll just mark the reduction points here, 12.5 to 10. And ability power goes down here. So we see already here, less damage. Passive has less damage than before. Next up is Shield of Durand. Takes reduced magic damage, 25 to 40 plus 5%, plus magic resist 2. Let's again mark only the important parts that are getting reduced. So from 5% to 4%. And then we get a new scaling with 1% bonus health. Take reduced physical damage, what do we see here? 5 to 2. And another bonus health scaling. The initial range has been increased, while total range and charge time remain unchanged. This ability does not deal damage to minions or jungle monsters. Channeling can be interrupted when Gallio is crowd controlled. Justice Punch, damage to minions and jungle monsters increased from 50 to 85, and the AP scaling reduced by 10%. So far, this looks like Riot is forcing Gallio to build Rod of Ages, otherwise he doesn't really function. That is the idea behind it, but the problem is Gallio was just a one-shot champion. I don't really think this changes much about that goal of Gallio. It will, if anything, probably hurt Gallio more than anything, because Gallio, ever since the sudden impact changes, wasn't really matter, because he didn't really do enough anymore in terms of one-shot, because in the last patch, when we had sudden impact with Magic Pen, he had this one-shot potential of level 3 jumping into your face and just tapping you. Now he just doesn't have that anymore. And turning him to like a tank champion in current meta, when mages aren't even the main problem, I don't really think it will do much. I think it will be a pretty big fail at the beginning. Seth. Base stats, 40 armor to 46 and 650 to 690 health, so this is a problem. Why? This patch in isolation is not a problem, but Seth has received so many buffs in sequence that it's simply too much. He has so much life regen that Seth is one of the only champions you would have to build anti-healing into because of the regen, by the way. He has so much healing with Second Wind and his passive that it's just overbearing and you just cannot kill him. And this makes it even worse because he gets even tankier. So yeah, Seth is definitely moving up in the ranks of just being able to brute force traits into you unless your champion fundamentally is good into him. Talon, another problem case. We see a triple buff here. This is a triple buff, by the way. We see a passive change from 80 to 100, so it's a 20 flat increase. And then we see bonus movement speed when a champion or unit is killed while bleeding from 40 to 50%. Then we have the bonus attack range after the cast is from 1 to 1.5, and the cooldown reduction from 50 to 65 when you kill something, as well as a cooldown on his rake ability minus 1 second. Looking at this increases his jungle, like this improves his jungle clear and makes him overall better. But again, he will not be played in mid lane. It will not happen. It's not a mid lane champion. It's just how it goes. Like 80 assassins mid lane are low-key dead for a long time now. And Riot is not looking to try and change this. This is just a pure jungle buff. Yes, it makes him better in lane too, but jungle is just a role that you play him into. Varus. Okay, let's read about the changes and then I'll tell you my thought. Okay, Varus. Base stats, 570 health to 600. 3-6 AD, and then 4 per level upwards. The first ability is increased by 70 to 80, as well as the scaling sees a 10% increase. The second ability, the Quiver, at all levels, the cooldown reduction from 30 to 25, and the base damage sees an increase by 5 here, and at the highest rank, it's 11 bonus damage. So these are some, like, real buffs that we are seeing here, because he gets tankier, he gets more AD, he gets more on hit damage. So Varus' problem in comparison to before is, or like right now, Varus was a burst centric champion. He just one-shot you. Now he doesn't do that anymore. So with that in mind, the changes are more like, again, towards the on-hit version of Varus. And the on-hit version of Varus is in a little bit of a weird spot. I wouldn't say it's weak, I wouldn't say it's broken. It's broken once he gets a reset kill in a fight, because then he gets the insane stats from his passive, but that is it. So this helps Varus a ton. Zarya. Living Battery. Increase, oh, this is a huge increase here from 8 to 13. And then we have the scaling increase by a total of 10%, starting with 4% on the lowest level. So the issue of Zarya is, I'll just show you here. So Zarya was picked in the past when the enemy had a lot of shields, and then you got tanky. So you, technically speaking, had the current version of BT constantly if you pick Zarya in a good spot. But BT had more damage in the older patch. And the same thing happens as well with the Runans having more range and more stats as well, allowing you to just be way more impactful and tankier. Now, since BT and Runans lost a lot of their stats in comparison to what they used to be, Zarya also lost a lot of damage in that regard. So Zarya needed to be changed, because Zarya was a conditional pick into shields, and they wanted to make it into a blind pickable champion. Which means the champion either sucks or is broken. It can never truly be balanced if it's blind pickable as a champion. And that is their goal. They just want to be the champion to either be completely obnoxiously broken or useless. Hello Vayne, how are you today? Or Callista. And I think Zarya will still receive another buff after this. This will not fix the problem that she's suffering from, because you still have the problem of your first 3 items being like lackluster, and then on the 4th item, like, this here is terrible state, slightly better, and then suddenly you're late game Zarya and then you're fine. That's one of the problems that she has to face. One of the nerfs I never expected to see in a good amount of time is a Zarya nerf. First off, we see a base armor nerf, which is directed at support role, by the way, because mid lane nobody plays AD champions. Deadly Spines, minus 10 damage, and minus 10 ability power scaling. Rampant Growth, Ceteration, minus 1.5 seconds. So this is a damage nerf of 25%, right? Because the duration is decreased. And this here is another nerf damage-wise. For laning, this is a lot. Like, this is a lot of power lane loss-wise. For the late game gameplay loop, it's not that important, because the most typical gameplay loop is just you pressing your plant anywhere and the plant auto-attacking. That's it. It's most of the things that happen. But this is definitely a lot less for laning, like a lot more like power, like how would I say this? This really is a big cut in power during laning. Cinched, the most undeserved nerf ever. We are back to pre-rework Cinched numbers here, from 25 to 20 damage per second and fling damage reduced by 20. So we currently have Amumu, Rammus and Cinched as champions that just run around the map on low economy and just force plays. That is their gameplay. They actively avoid playing the game and just look for these advantages. And Cinched is not a victim of this one. Cinched cannot play top lane, he loses every single thing. Cinched can be played mid lane into mages because mages can't really kill him, because Cinched clears a wave, goes base, does it again, goes for rotation. If he does this in top lane, he will get killed level 1, and if he ever tries to come back, he will just get killed again. That's why Cinched top lane absolutely sucks. This champion is terrible. Unless you have no idea how to play against this champion, aka you just fistfight him, have second win, and you just automatically win. But, yeah, that's one of the biggest issues. What do we have next? Oh, item changes. Blade of the Ruined King is seeing some changes, but I'll be honest, they will not do anything. We see 1% increase. Oh, that's the wrong pen. Classic. 1% increase here and 1% increase here. The item, again, either you built the item or you didn't. And if your champion didn't build the item, you'll not build it now because it doesn't change anything. That we have too much, there's too much damage again. We're back to one shot. And therefore, unless your champion built it before, like Vayne iterations of On It, Kai's iteration of On It, Varus iteration of On It, otherwise you would not build this item, and yeah. Maybe you can argue building it on Jax, but again, I don't necessarily think so. The most important nerf that we are seeing is Bloodthirster. We see 580 nerf, and then a 30 shield early and 20 shield late. This doesn't do anything for the item. The item is still the best in slot item that you can go for, but what they did again, they made Collector now a more appealing damage item, but Bloodthirster does multiple things at the same time, as in giving you damage, still the highest option for crit, I believe, after IE. So it gives you damage, it gives you survivability, and it gives you sustain. So it's 3 things that it gives you, which, on the other hand, Collector doesn't do. So there's still no really real alternative to Bloodthirster in terms of first items, unless you don't really need any of the survivability or sustain and just want more raw damage. But again, don't forget about the trade-off. Teleport spell from 180 to 150. Teleport can only be taken into matchups where you don't need anything or you can't do anything. Let's say, for example, you play into Poppy top, a tank top, or into Warwick top, then you would take Teleport because there's nothing for you to do anyway. Then we have a few game mode changes, spell book mechanic changes. We've been listening to your feedback since we shared some of the news coming to ARAM. Based on your input, we'll continue to adjust the raw timing of new content flexibly so that we can bring surprises and fresh experiences throughout the entire patch cycle. I can't even read today, what's wrong with me? So we'll be adjusting the release schedule for the spell mechanics and sync up augment. By launching these features later in the patch, we hope to combine them with additional gameplay updates to bring you a richer and more enjoyable experience to everyone. So here we have these changes. Like, I don't know about these augments, so I have no idea what they do. So feel free to pause and take a look at them and read them. But I have legit no idea what they do, what they stand for, and how good or bad they are in the context of the game mode. Like, legitimately, I have no idea. And basically with that, we're at the end of this video. Not too much of a big patch here. A few key changes, very questionable changes as well. But I'm really hoping that we see some bigger changes in the next cycle. Actually tackling broken champions such as Aatrox, Ambessa in a real capacity, Riven, maybe looking at the current version of DD again, and then also look into what makes AD crit itemization good or bad, and we fix the flaws of that one. And we actually spend our time looking at the whys instead of like, oh, the Chinese API says this percentage is overpowered, Kayle better gets nerfed, you know. Meanwhile, Kale's strongest point, for example, is level 1 fistfighting somebody, and if that doesn't happen, if they play the lane correctly, you just can't breathe and can't play, because your champion cannot defend itself. But yeah, again, I'm rambling. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and come back for more content very soon. Bye.